All right, so last time we talked about closing costs, which we know now is on top of the purchase price or the list price. So let's jump in a little bit. If we are at 100,000, 5 to 7% is 7,000. That makes the transaction 107,000. But today we're actually going to talk about seller's contribution. Now that is the TRG's little secret sauce, if you will. Because every once in a while you're asking, well, how much can you negotiate? And the truth is there are two levers that you can negotiate on. You can negotiate on the purchase price, and the other lever, which we love to do, is negotiate on the seller's contribution. So a seller's contribution is money from the seller towards your transaction, and that can range. And usually the lender will tell you what the cap is, but let me just give you a simple example. So we bought this home for $100,000. We had closing costs for $7,000, which brought it to $107,000. But a closing cost or seller's contribution can be 2%. So if you got 2% from the seller's contribution of the purchase price, that makes it $2,000. Now, since you now have $2,000 from the seller through the contribution, you now went from paying $107,000 to $105,000. See, a seller contribution is a dollar for dollar match of every dollar that they bring with seller contribution. You don't have to pay. So that's why it went from $107,000 to $105,000. And just to make sure we're clear, this 2% is based on the purchase price, not the combination of purchase price and closing costs. So that is subtracted from your total, which makes it $105,000. So that's the seller's contribution in a nutshell. If you have any questions, we can definitely dive in. It takes a little longer video, but I just wanted to give you an overview as how we can use both the purchase price and the seller's contribution to make sure that you get a great deal. Because now your net number is not 107, your net number is 105. And that's super important. So until next time,